afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're here with Miss Peggy Rhodes-White and her daughter, Miss Tiffany White, at Ted Rhodes Golf Course here in Nashville to talk about the Ted Rhodes Golf Tournament. Ms. White, how are you this afternoon?
I am fantastic.
Fantastic describes it very well. You are direct descendants of Ted Rhodes. You, his daughter?
Yes, that is correct.
And Tiffany, his granddaughter.
Yes.
Tell us about the legend of your dad.
Well, I'm going to make it as short as possible.
Don't rush.
I grew up here in Nashville, and my father was here during the time, in and out, because he traveled a lot. But he was a very kind and compassionate person, but was really into golf. All he ever wanted to do was to play golf. Couldn't understand it at the time, because back in the day, for someone of his nationality to want to play golf sounded a little crazy to me, because he never worked a job in the day of his life. The day of his life, golf was his passion, and he worked very hard at making that passion happen.
He is a legend, of course, when you figure out that this is Ted Rhodes Golf Course and the park is named Ted Rhodes Park.
Yes.
For a black man in the South to have that distinction must give you a great deal of pride.
Oh, it gives me a great deal of pride. It makes me feel very, very, very good to know that I am a part of that experience and a part of being the daughter of Ted Rhodes. And it just makes me feel so good when I hear people talk about it, because I go to various golf courses in different places and I've never heard anyone say anything negative about him. So I feel really good, and it's exciting to be at the Ted Rhodes Golf Course named after him. To have a whole golf course named after your father is truly a blessing.
There's nothing like recognition for achievement, and he was an achiever. As a young person in Nashville growing up in then the Jim Crow South, and your father working hard to become a professional golfer, were you ever aware of the different challenges he had to face?
You know, it's so interesting. That's a great question, because back in the day I was young. I knew about it, but obviously I was able to move through it. It didn't bother me as much as I think about it now. He's no longer here. It just makes me feel really sad to know that he had to go through all of this. But I'm great and happy to know that he was able to persevere and endure this. And he was just a strong person, and he was so determined to be a professional golfer. It was all he ever wanted to do, all he talked about. And started out as a caddy, 12 years old. Can you imagine, in Nashville, a city where you could imagine a young African-American boy wanting to play golf? So it was really exciting to me.
Well, the golf world here in Nashville was enhanced by his presence, because he drew so many of his friends who played professional golf on the Chitlin circuit. Did you get to meet any of them? Well,
of course, Lee Elder I knew, and Lee Elder and my father were very close. He was like a son to Lee Elder. Joe Lewis, very briefly, I met. And then some of the other guys like Jim Thorpe and Jim Dent did come and play in our tournament at one time. And of course, Althea Gibson came to Nashville for my father to give her some lessons. So he worked with a lot of famous people, back in the day. Some of them are still with us and some of them are no longer with us. So yeah, it's a good feeling to know he touched so many lives in a positive way.
Well, when I say the Chitlin circuit, that was a golf circuit for black folks. I had a cousin who lived in Indianapolis who played on the Chitlin circuit. That's how I, many years ago, got introduced to it. And you mentioned Joe Lewis. I met your father and Joe Lewis on the golf course in Chicago when I was maybe 12 years old. And it's amazing how full circle things come.
Yes, it certainly is. And, you look back now, I have such a sense of pride as I talk about him and as I hear other people talk about him. As a gentleman just passed by here, Pete McDaniels, I don't know if you saw him, he was senior writer for Golf Digest. He wrote a book, Uneven Lies, and there's a whole chapter that deals with deal that talks about my father.
Yep. The gentleman who the field house, the clubhouse is named after, Pro Joe, son Ricky is writing a book about the development of Cumberland Golf Course into what we see now. Were you able to give him any help with that?
No, he has not approached me, but I am available if he wants to speak with me.
Yes, we love when people want to write about my grandfather. So we welcome, because we want the story to be told correctly. So it's important that, for instance, Pete McDaniels reached out to us about Uneven Lies so that to make sure the accurate. There's a lot of information about my grandfather that's not true. And so us being the family, we wanted to make sure that people have the right stories. He was such a trailblazer. You mentioned Joe Louis. My grandfather and Joe Louis had an excellent relationship. And because of that relationship, Joe Louis became a great golfer. And people know him as a boxer, but for him to be a great golfer as well, that's because my grandfather poured into him. And even though my grandfather had a lot of challenges, that did not stop him from encouraging people to pursue a career in golf.
Back to you, as a child in this city, seeking an education and being known as your dad's child, how did that take you to school every morning?
Well, I was young at the time. My fondest memory, and I tell this all the time, is when I graduated from Pearl High School in Nashville. I was so concerned about my father coming to my graduation. So after I had graduated and everything, I was looking around for him. I did not see him. I said, where is he? So as I came out in my cap and gown, I was excited. He was standing there smiling, and he said something that was very poignant to me, something that I'll always remember. He said, I would have never missed your graduation. He came from New York or somewhere and had a special suit made. He was a sharp dresser, as I'm sure you've heard and know. And he had on a suit that he had made special, one-button gray suit. I see that image all the time when I talk about him, when I think about him. That was a very special moment for me. And having lived in Nashville, his mother and my grandmother would fight over who was taking me to church that Sunday. It was her Sunday.
Obviously, they went to different churches.
Right.
Yeah, Mother Rhodes, we called her, and she'd grab me and take me to Mount Zion, and then my mother's mother would take me to church. So I was tossed back and forth, and it was a lot of fun.
Well, that meant you were the object of a great deal of affection.
Exactly. And then, his sister, many people don't realize he had a sister. You don't talk much about her. Her name was Mary. We called her baby child. So he had a sister. So she was, a part of the family as well.
And one thing I want to mention, we talked about him being a great dresser. My grandfather was ranked in the top 10 best dressed golfers in the world by GQ magazine. And GQ magazine has always been known for fashion. So for my grandfather, especially at the time when he played golf, for him to be able to be named as a top
As a black man, especially.
As a black man. And it's not like he was making a lot of money when he was playing golf, but he was very passionate about how he looked as well on the golf course. His golf game was important, but also to make sure that he looked good and represented himself in the best light.
Because someone told us a story, I can't remember where it originated from, where he went out and played either 9 or 18 holes, had on all white, came back, didn't have a speck of dirt on it. And he was so proud of himself,
Yes.
And I can just imagine, because he just really took personal pride. And you can see all the pictures, even back in the day, some of his outfits were really sharp.
Well, he was in a city at that time where black folks owned stores and and places where he could buy the kind of
That's true.
Yeah.
clothing he wanted.
Very true.
He wasn't looking for a business suit. He was looking for something sharp and noticeable.
Yes.
And I just you mentioned the GQ magazine article. I was just reading an article on the bulletin board here at the golf course about him being one of the 150 best athletes in the history of Nashville.
I was interviewed for that article, as a matter of fact, so I had a lot of input as to what was put in that article.
And we like that people continue to write about him. We never want him to be forgotten. So the fact that the Tennessean writer reached out to us, we were really excited so that more people can learn about Ted Rhodes, especially people that are newer to golf, to learn the golf history is very important. We have many people that come to the Ted Rhodes golf course that don't know anything about Ted Rhodes or his accomplishments. So we were really excited. So that article was a good one. And so Grady put that in the Breezeway area there. So then a lot of people have read that and said they've learned even more about him.
As a frequent visitor to the golf course, almost daily.
That's frequent.
I have noticed.
That's more than frequent.
So I noticed that when white golfers come, they see a lot of black golfers on the golf course, which surprises them. And then they go in and read the historical information on the banner, and they read the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's a great notice, if you will, to anybody that comes to Nashville that black folks do exist in Nashville.
That's a very good point.
Yes,
And
yes.
the history, and especially at this course, people being on the stoop, and this was the place to be. If you were coming in town or if you just lived here, people came every day. I noticed that regardless of what else they were doing, they were going to make it at some point to come to this golf course. So the camaraderie.
Especially old black men like me.
Seasoned.
But we love you, old seasoned black men,
Yes.
because we know that you were part of that
Yes.
experience.
And kept the legacy alive.
Yes.
Well, we tried. I encouraged Ricky to write the book that he's writing just so the history is not lost
Yes.
as to who, what, where, and when.
Yes.
Otherwise, we'll be left out of it if other people write our history.
Agree.
Now, if you were here when, are you ready to sit down?
Yeah, I just working on me standing in this grass, but that's okay. Hopefully we'll be brief.
I'm going to make this the last one. As you were here when the sit-ins were going on.
I was. But it's so funny. Obviously, I was never involved in it. And I have to, people ask me the question, and I said, oh, we had that in Nashville. I was here, but I wasn't aware of it because I was so focused on what I was doing for myself. It never bothered me, even with the struggles and the challenges that my father had to go through. Looking back now, if, I've had to do it over again, I probably would have approached it different. But I was very compassionate, and whatever he wanted to do was fine with me because I knew there was something that he wanted to do for himself. And also he was proud of what he was able to accomplish and how he was able to help others. That's the thing that, to me, that warms my heart, that he was so compassionate about helping other people. And that's why we're so excited about the foundation and what we're doing about providing opportunities for our young people.
You mentioned your foundation. Give the
The website.
website
Yes, this is the
address,
foundation
yes.
expert.
Yes, I'm the president of the foundation, and our website is www.tedrhodes.org. The foundation was created in 1993 by my mom, Peggy Rhodes-White, to keep my grandfather's legacy alive. But we also want to make a big impact in the golf industry by exposing youth in the urban areas to the great game of golf. But not only that, giving them the opportunity to compete, but then also work in the golf industry is something that we have really prided ourselves on. So the foundation supports HBCU golf programs such as Fisk University. We have several other HBCU partnerships, but also partnering with junior golf programs. We feel like the younger we can reach the kids, the better. And we are doing that through our Ted Rhodes Junior Golf Tour. So we have a 4-city tour. Nashville will be October 25th. We've got Jacksonville, Atlanta. We had an event in Chicago. So that is our focus, is making a huge impact in the game of golf, exposing our youth to it. They love it. Once we get them to the golf course, they love it. First they tell us, oh, it's boring. Once we get them here, they love it, the camaraderie, meeting people such as yourself. It is very important for us to spread the word. And we're not just doing it in one pocket. We're spreading the word across the country through the Ted Rhodes Foundation. And that is one of the reasons that we do the Ted Rhodes Golf Classic. This is our 56th year of doing our Golf Classic. We have golfers here from all over the country. So we're celebrating the legacy of my grandfather, but we're also fundraising for HBCU golf programs and junior golf programs.
Fundraising is important. We say that. We want people to know
Yes.
that, we're having this tournament, but it's to raise funds, not for us personally,
Yes.
but to provide opportunities for golfers and then to learn more about Ted Rhodes. So Tiffany does such a good job. That's why I let her explain the foundation.
And when we talk about Nashville, we partner with Coach Robert Moore and Fisk University. They have a great program for men and women, and we've donated almost $30,000 to that program and looking to do even more. But we need support from individuals participating, donating, and sponsors, so that we can continue to increase our donations. The donations we've made to Fisk already have helped Coach Moore give scholarships, recruit more students to come to Fisk and play on the golf team, travel, uniforms, all of those things. So that is why we do this work, and we're just excited to be here today.
And lastly, last year we developed a Perseverance Award that we gave last year to HBCU.
Yeah, so there's an HBCU Ted Rhodes Perseverance Award for students on the golf programs at HBCU schools. It was important. We talked about all that he went through. He persevered, and if he could do that with what he had to work with back then, there's no excuse for us. There are a lot of resources that are out there, and so we give an award every year to that golf team student that plays at HBCU on them being able to persevere.
I'm going to make one last comment and leave it alone. It seems extremely strange that the greatest golf organization in the world is not one of your partners. PGA does nothing. I've not seen a PGA representative here, and they talk about what they do to increase participation of people of color. PGA, I'm calling you out. You talk a lot, but you don't do much. Ladies, thank you very much.
Well, thank you
so
for
much.
inviting us. We appreciate it.
All right. Amen.
Amen.
Y'all almost had me call